economic prosperity. It is a responsibility. It has to fuel economic prosperity, because we cannot go back to the universities of the 18th century or the 19th century. So, well, I am here, this is what I'm doing. I really don't care where the money comes from, whether it grows on trees or, I have my own money printing machine in the basement. I'm not interested in that one. Give me the money and I'll do whatever I'm supposed to. No, we have to do it completely the other way around. We have to fuel economic prosperity. If we don't do this, we're not able to help grow the tree that will feed us. You have to inspire entrepreneurial spirit. Every single student in your university, faculty, or even staff will have to understand that the knowledge, this wonderful, fantastic environment that we call a university, is not just a place where we transfer information from one person to another or from one place to another one. It's an environment where we are enabled. We are enabled to think about things that have never been thought of. We are enabled to do some crazy things, okay? And that's the entrepreneurial spirit. That the person came up with the Google idea, or Facebook, or Twitter, or Cisco router, they could have come from here if you had the right environment and encouragement, okay, provided to them. And the third one is that university of the 21st century will have to drive innovation, without which, pack up and leave. Without innovation, you will not be in existence. That I can tell you for sure, okay? That it's a must, because you look around and do an inventory of universities in the world. Go back to 10 years and now you see how many new institutions have come on stream now. And to be able to be there, yes, probably Oxford and Cambridge, and they'll be there, but they'll be their name. I'll give you one personal example, ladies and gentlemen. I serve on the board, strategic board of Sorbonne University in Paris. Everybody will know Sorbonne University. Well, I am asked to serve on their board because of the very same reason. So, well, we exist as Sorbonne as name, but in terms of everything else, we are lagging behind all the major universities in the world in terms of innovation and other things. We need help to make sure that our name will also be the name that will be recognized as not a historical name, but a name that is dynamic, that is forward-looking, and we will be able to attract the kind of talent who will come here, not just because the surroundings of Sorbonne is just fabulous, but not just to say that I studied in a museum. They will say that I studied in a very dynamic environment where my future was created here. So, I'm just getting warmed up, by the way. What will require then to constantly think of strategic motivation. We need to be strategically motivated. And there are some organizations, I picked up this cartoon, if you're able to read it, I feel it's important to always have a plan to ignore, okay? It's the element of, okay, we have a plan. If you ask me, yes, sir, we have a plan. Now, what is it doing now? It's just collecting dust on the shelf. No, you have to have a plan that will have to be very realistic, that is created based on everything that we talked about. So I did that 3 years ago at my own institution. It was one of the most exciting, dynamic, but yet challenging exercise for me to bring focus to what we did. And I was able to bring it to these titles: that experiential education, entrepreneurship, research, academic program, internationalization, student experience, employer-employee relations, and value system. I said, these are the pillars of our organization, that these pillars bring our strengths from the past, but they also connect us to our future. And the top three are the signature pillars of our university. Experiential education is a fancy word that we use for cooperative education system. Entrepreneurship, that this university has been very entrepreneurship right from the beginning, and research, research, research. If that is not here, this critical inquiry, forget about everything else. The university will not exist. You could be a nice, fuzzy and warm feeling based liberal arts college, but research is the one that puts everything together and make everything else more meaningful. Next 5 years, like everybody else, we will be facing some important challenges. You can guess what they are. So let me just briefly focus on the 3 areas I mentioned. Why is it important to understand that our future will be determined by our past successes? I put entrepreneurship because when the university was created, this is the kind of environment we wanted to create, that from everything else, from research, from your education, if you have an intellectual property created because of that critical thinking, because of that critical inquiry and research, should the university take all of it? Should the government take all of it? Should we share? Absolutely no. The creator should own everything. And that was our philosophy, and it has paid fantastic dividends. It is the reason why we've been able to attract so many forward-thinking, entrepreneurial-minded researchers that they know we value them for their intellectual mind, not because how much of their intellectual property we're going to be able to tax. So for us, entrepreneurship is very important, and it will continue fueling this university's future. Transformational research, I don't like to call it just research. It has to be transformational because of that leadership issue I mentioned, that your research will have to transform something once we have the benefits of enjoying the results of that research. And experiential education, which requires a full day of discussion, their cooperative education, but I will mention it in a moment, that these are the 3 pillars that we believe very unique for the kind of, again, unique footprint, niche areas of a university. These are the ones we identified as ours. If I could take 30 seconds as to how we reached that conclusion, I could have come up with that with an afternoon, closed my door in my office and written those things down, which I did. But I conducted more than 70 public consultation sessions just like this one, each one attended by at least 60 to 80 people. I heard the aspirations, views, criticism, and encouragement of every single person, the university, student, to faculty, to staff, the alumni, everybody. And at the end, we created this one, and nobody said that, oh, I had nothing to do with it. Everybody said, I took part in the creation of the university's strategic plan. Tremendous buy-in. If you were to do this, I would highly recommend that kind of thing will conduct it, and then you identify your differentiated strengths as I just outlined. So I mentioned cooperative education. Most of you, again, will be familiar with cooperative education. It's a system where you integrate work into your learning. A lot of people, especially some parents, will say that, oh, cooperative education is very good because my son or daughter will have a guaranteed job after graduation. A very simplistic way of describing is far from it. Yes, it's true. I will show you some numbers that they do get good jobs, but they integrate what they learn outside of the university, but they also integrate what they learn outside the university back into their classroom reading. I was just talking about this with somebody the other day, said one of the most critical aspects of co-op is it opens the student's mind. I am learning this today, and I'm going to get a chance to see why I had to go through all this hardship to learn this. And at the end, if I'm studying dentistry, and then I'm out doing my co-op job in dentistry, and I say, gosh, is this what I will be doing for the rest of my life? No, I don't want it. I'll come back and say, I don't want dentistry. I'm going to take, music. Okay? This happens. It is the best thing that can happen to a student, to realize what he or she does not want to do in life and to figure it out before it's too late. So it goes on, and I have a list of things, and one of the most beautiful part, of course, I call our students as our blood cells, because they are the blood cells between the university, academia, and the world, industry, private sector, government, anything you call, and they bring constantly new research ideas and opportunities. This just to substantiate what I was saying about the importance of co-op. This is the University of Waterloo compared to the entire Ontario system comparison. Probably 2 years ago. 6 months after graduation, 2 years after graduation. This is graduate employment. Our students get 88.7% employment compared to the close Ontario average. 2 years, however, you could see a bigger difference, that 96% of our students are fully employed compared to 93. But when you compare this in the field, employment in the field that they studied, the difference is a lot more visible. 88% of our students work in the field that they studied compared to 69, both 6 months and 2 years after graduation. And like all of us, if you're motivated by how much money you'll make after graduation, you see that earning higher income, 6 months, over $40,000, 2 years, over $50,000, the difference is significant. That is the value of cooperative education in a very nutshell, small nutshell. It can be, as I said, discussed for hours and hours, if not days. It is something that, believe, simply put, 4 months of studying, 4 months of work, 4 months of studying, 4 months of work. Last year, my university placed over 19,000 students in 54 countries in the world, around the world. And these students collectively earned $130 million, I believe. I'm just rounding it up. So it is a very significant part of this is our education philosophy. And it's something you will say, what's your niche? This is one of the niche areas. So I believe that this is a niche that a 21st century university will have. And look at all the youth unemployment statistics. So if we are not creating the kind of workforce coming out of our universities, expect these numbers to grow a lot more. Okay? So this is one of the most important ways to make sure that our students are graduating from university not just armed with everything they were supposed to study from their textbooks. It is something that it's my 5-minute warning. So it is what it is that they can do with that knowledge. Entrepreneurship is something that I mentioned several times. Again, this requires significant in-depth discussion. Think of it as an ecosystem that is something that has to be shared by everybody. The most important or the most common mistake some of our colleagues at educational institutions make, thinking that entrepreneurship can be taught. Wrong. Entrepreneurship is not something that you can put it in a bottle and say, well, look, drink 3 bottles of this in a day for 3 months, then you'll become an entrepreneur. It is the ecosystem, it is the environment, it's the mindset. Yes, there are some mechanical aspects of entrepreneurship that everybody should know, but it is the spirit. One of the key elements of that spirit is the risk. Risk in terms of, I have a job waiting for me at Microsoft. This is the salary, this is how much money I will make, with all the benefits and all the free food they give you every day, workplace, versus I can start my own business, or I can be part of this small startup that I'm not even sure that I will have dinner on the table, okay, that day. but I am so excited about this, I will take that risk. That's part of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is something that there is no guarantee that I will not fail. It's quite possible that actually I may fail. I don't care. If I fail, I'll get up and try it again. Those are the ones that make a big, big, big difference. It's a personal choice. You can do it, but without understanding what those choices are,